Little friends, watch us die together, shall we?
No!
It's game over for both of you.
No. Just for me. I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me.
Why are you going into the law? No, yes, no, yeah, no, go into the law.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever applies to you. Welcome to 29 May 2023. While I find my usual background. There we go. All right. So today's live stream is unfortunately going to deal with an unavoidable subject. There was a school shooting in Tennessee, Nashville, and 3 children are dead. 3 adults are dead. Okay. That happened. I can't unring the bell. It's done and over. About a half a dozen cops went storming in, and they shot the shooter dead. She's not going to be standing trial. Tough shit. Fuck her. Oh, F-bombs are always armed and will often be dropped. Rare occasion when they're not, I give you a warning. And it usually means I'm too pissed to speak coherently. So anyway, sorry guys. Okay, there we go. Let's get into it. Yeah, Tuesday morning, a woman went into a school, a private Christian school, and she shot her way into the building. I've seen the video. Don't tell me that part didn't happen. She shot her way in through what's described as a side door. The side door was chosen because there was nobody around. Less likely to have any kind of opposition that way. First person she shot was apparently the janitor. From there, the timeline gets very, very murky until about 14 minutes later, I think it is. By this point, the 3 kids are dead, and the 2 other adults are dead as well. At this point, the first cops arrive, and she started to shoot at them from a second deck window. All right. I'm totally there. At this point, the cops are like, nope, fuck this bitch. And more Cops arrived. They made their way into the building. I've seen body cam footage from at least one of the officers. They're talking to each other. They're addressing each other in a strange code that I'd never heard before. So the first time I heard it, I got a little confused. They started saying LVPO, move up. Let's go. Blue shirt, move up. Something like that. That I've never heard people talk to each other quite like that. So it is a little confusing to me. We love you, Susan, by the way. But at any rate, they're talking to each other, working a game plan. At the end of it, they just lit her up. That's better. We love you, Susan. Okay. Everything I have just said is facts in evidence. I can prove everything that I've just said. I'm okay with it. I'm going to ask everybody to stop making assumptions or stop making conclusions or whatever it is your word you're going to use here. What's got this little bit of my rant, and the difference between assumptions based on information not in evidence and a weirdo conspiracy theory is effectively non-existent. You can make up anything and just assume that, hey, while that looks right, must be true. What got this rant started on a social media site, I'm not going to mention which one, a public figure made a comment about how this was an attack on Christians and conservatives and something else, a third category. I don't even remember what. Okay. I have absolutely nothing to suborn that statement other than it was a private Christian school and it did have a chapel as part of the complex. Like, that proves what? Candace Owens actually, I believe it was yesterday, uploaded a video talking about this incident, saying that the FBI, who she doesn't trust, has declared that they found a bunch of documents, a manifesto. That's the word she used. I assume it's the word they use. She's not wrong. I don't trust the FBI for much of nothing anymore either. So their claim to have found a manifesto is, well, it's worthless. It's actually worthless to me. There is a couple of news sites that are claiming that there was also some artwork found. Okay, so what? Who cares? What does it mean in real evidence? Nothing. It was worthless. It was an assumption based on information, not in evidence. Please, for God's sakes, don't do that. Wait until at least some of the facts come out and then start making your assumptions or conclusions or asking the questions at least. You don't know which questions to ask until you know something to ask it about. The one thing we can conclude, she shot her way into the building. All right. It is long past time to start fortifying schools so people can't get in. Now, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I remember the crisis of non-custodial parents kidnapping their kids from schools. Yeah, it happened like a dozen times. Correction, it made national news about a dozen times. Why didn't we start fortifying schools way the hell back then so that people who don't have business there can't get in? The entire movie Stand By Me. Does it Stand By Me? Morgan Freeman as a principal. It was all based on a true story of a principal who fortified the fuck out of his school the only way he could, because his school security budget was less than the Coast Guard's budget, and that's when I was 2 hot rocks and a mutato. Now it's 1 rock, 1 hot rock. Thank you, Squatch. Lean on me. Principal Joe. Now it's 1 hot rock, 1 cold rock, and a mutato. When that's your budget, when that's the Coast Guard's budget, I'm saying that his security budget was less than that. That's a bad sign. No, well, okay. I'm going to highlight this. All right, this statement may be true. Stand By Me is based off of a Bachman book. I don't know who Bachman is, but he based the book on the true story. If the statement is correct. By the way, you notice I did not say the statement is true. Well, Squatch, he's not going to lie to me, especially about something as ridiculous as that. Is he correct? I mean, it's Squatch. I assume he's correct. Oh, and Bachman is a Stephen King pen name. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. The movie was Lean on Me. The one I confused it for, Stand By Me, is something totally different. Ha ha, see? I told you Squatch wouldn't lie to me. He also didn't make the mistake I did. Bad, Gary, bad! Somebody go get a rolled up newspaper. Moving right along. If back in the fucking 1980s we knew this was a problem, then why is it still a problem? If back in the 1980s we knew this was a problem, why is it still a problem? All right. This leads to a second statement. Well, finish the first statement, Carrie. It's long since past time to start fortifying schools, at least to the bare minimum, right? Airports are not secure buildings. You can get into an airport with an intention to do naughty things relatively easily. There's a whole fucking national air transportation grid was shut down for about 4 hours. Oh, what was this? 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. Because some jackass, hey, Macy, DJ. Okay, Macy, I will address your question in a moment. DJ, that's understood. Thank you for being here during the live. That's cool. All right. As I was saying, you can get into an airport very, very easily. Some jackass went in through the outline and shut down the entire fucking air grid, air transportation grid for something like 4 hours while they tried to figure out what the hell he'd done. He said he'd forgotten his camera on the plane. That may be true. May not. I don't care one way or the other. The fact that he could get in, physically enter the building, is the problem. And schools aren't even half that well fortified. I'm just saying. All right. Because this question is directly related. Macy asked, why didn't they fortify schools? Because the government wants people to be vulnerable to whatever sickos come along. Why? To get more power. Right. Well, I am not going to point to motives that I can't prove. I will say that for a very small amount of money compared to what the insurance payouts would be, we could fortify every school to the point where a SWAT team and a fire department would have trouble getting in. Now, SWAT teams and fire departments, they don't care. All right. Fire department, they and if you're a firefighter, you know this is true. Firefighters love breaking shit. There's a now somewhat infamous photo, or is it a video, of a car where the guy blocked a fire hydrant, so they smashed out his windows and put the fire hose through it. And I do know firefighters. I do know that they're sitting there thinking, I've been living for this. Bam! I worked at a fire department as a civilian aide for about a year once. It was awesome. Those guys can be really fun. And by fun, I mean borderline psychotic. So for me, that would be perfect. And so, to the motives, you may see, I'd rather not. I'd rather not get into it. What I know is what I think I know. The first person she encountered, the shooter that is, was the janitor. This was the first person who also would have heard the glass being shot out, would have heard the gun, would have heard the glass breaking out. Very, very bare minimum. He would have known something's going on and it shouldn't be. Did I happen to mention that a 1994 law made it illegal to have a gun on a school property? Oh, yes, I think I may have mentioned this once or twice. I may not have mentioned the year, but I might have mentioned the existence of the law. Now, here we have a completely unarmed private school staff confronting a psycho with a gun. Is the math hard here? Because this isn't the first time we've seen this scenario playing out. The first person responding, who could potentially have responded was the janitor. Bare minimum, had he been armed, he could have shot back and forced her to rethink her plan. Oh, I still got him outgunned. Well, okay, great, good for you. And in the 2 seconds that you're standing there exchanging fuck you rounds with this guy who's sending him right back just as much a fuck you anyways, the whole school could have locked up their doors because everybody would have known by then, yeah, that's what it is. Up to and including fire doors slamming shut. And don't tell me there were no fire doors in that school. We see the cops going through 2 sets of them on their way to the woman. If this isn't a case fucking study on why we should have rearmed school staff with the 94 law, then I don't know what is. All right? If results like this was not the intention of the law, then they would have written it so that to be a school employee, you have to be able to pass a background check for a concealed carry permit. What happened in Nashville was the specific intent of that law. Yeah, she was the weapon. But the writer of that law was the killer. Who wrote that law again? Somebody remind me in chat. But be a little cautious, a little disciplined in your language. Not like this faggot in front of the camera. You use a little bit of discretion. Okay. It's bad enough that they set this situation up. I'll take care of this real quick. What the hell? Give me a second, guys. As you're about to hear Carrie really fucking spurg out. Oh, that's why. Stop that screen because I want to start a different screen. This is an actual screenshot from my personal email, which is why certain information is covered up. And let's see if we can. Yes, hide that. Thank you very much. Oh, that was not what I wanted. Oh. Yeah, I fucking hate Mom's Demand, so I'm more than happy to leave their information up. Mom's Demand action for gun sense in America. Enough is enough. Leading cause of death. Blah, blah, blah. Enough was enough when 3 children and 3 adults at Covenant School in Nashville, Tennessee were shot and killed this morning. Okay. All right. That's kind of par for the course. And see here the nice big donate button. I want to show you something else. I want to show you the next frame, which is not showing for some reason. What the hell? Okay. I'll open a new window. How about that? Stop that screen. Present another screen. Share screen. Yeah, that's the right one. Make sure the right one's. Nope. Let's try that again. Stop that screen. Yes, you are, Spock, but that's okay. Present. Share screen. Thank you. There we go. Good. That's the right one. This is the same email. In fact, this is the previous one. I altered it. I cropped it. Monday, 27 March at 13:42. You know why that's important, folks? Because at the time I received that email, the shooter was still alive. They didn't even wait until the shooter was dead to monetize this event. How fucking sick do you have to be to use dead kids to prop up your grift? Anybody? Squatch, I know you know a lot about some bits of psychology. Maybe you can tell me. DJ, you're another veteran. Maybe you can explain it to me. Macy, I know you're a pretty clever guy. Maybe you've heard something. Okay, so I love the answers I'm getting so far. Squatch says he hates driving, so he has an excuse to not be responding. Macy says just sick enough. Wow. That's actually a pretty good answer there. Macy, that was kind of good. And we'll talk about that later. One of these days I will get around to discussing that subject. But yeah, he's right. You can't. There's no point trying to reason with an unreasonable person. All right. But an unreasonable person cannot comprehend the universe with reality. All right. And therefore, they can't have a form letter standing by waiting for something to happen so that they can send it out to the universe to beg people to give them money. So, we love you, Susan. Anybody at all, please explain to me. And yeah, use the big words, use the little words. I'm not picky to explain what kind of sick motherfucker you actually have to be to use dead kids to get people to give you money. Yeah, take a look at my channel. Is there a super chat button there? There's not. There isn't. The first person that saw her could have stopped this, or at least forced a delay in the plan. want to talk about forcing a delay in the plan in some very unusual terms. Back around 1993, I think it was, a criminal gang, drug gang, took over the Best Buy. I think it was the Best Buy store in Sacramento, California. This was a very standard basic robbery gone weird. It went bad from the plan, from the minute they came up with this idea, well past the point where they were starting to execute it. It just, everything went wrong. It was a stupid idea is what it was. Rather than simply go in, take money, and leave, they ended up taking over the store and holding everybody hostage for something, I think it was about 48 hours. Finally, Sacramento Police Department said, yep, we're done. We're not playing this game anymore. They went storming in through one of the back doors. The first cop in tripped on an extension cord. It's just lying there. It wasn't a booby trap. It wasn't a part of their plan. It just happened to be lying there. He tripped on that, and the hole in the door, when they did everything else afterwards, they figured out that bullet absolutely would have went through the cop's head, but for the fact that he tripped. This could have been her tripping hazard moment. One guy just randomly in the wrong place, the wrong time for her purposes, totally fucks her entire plan up. I want to point to something. The gang did actually expect the cops to come through, and they intended to shoot the cops as they came in. That's the only reason why the gun was already leveled at exactly that point. Okay. That's a fair point, Macy. Hell, I'm a little bit not normal. Okay. So we all know I'm way past abnormal. I can't explain this either. I can explain, however, an abject refusal to do the basics, which is why, by the way, I will never go to a Century 16 theater. Never again in my life. Once again, the bare minimums weren't met. People died. I'm getting tired of hearing myself say that. It's like Groundhog Day. Hey, I told you this was going to happen. You didn't listen, and now it's happened again. How many times do I have to say, I fucking told you so? Until you finally take the hint. All right. You know what? I'm getting tired of saying I told you so. I'm going to go back to I spoke thus. How about that? Big Girl Carrie would love to hear me say I spoke thus for the rest of my life. Hi, Ozzy. All right. Related to my little rant about the assumptions based on information, not in evidence. Several people have replied to that comment about this being a false flag. Shut the fuck up. How about that? How about I just say it simply? Shut the fuck up. Take your false flag shit. shove it up your ass until it comes out of your mouth, and then, it'll very effectively wipe your ass. So, you can eat your own shit at that point. But anyway, let me say this a little more politely. Stop saying false flag. Just don't even use those words, right? I probably should add false flag to my list of banned terms. Maybe that's not such a bad idea. I should think about that. Hey, everybody in the chat, give me a 1 if you think I should add false flag to my banned terms list, and a 2 if you think I shouldn't. I found these people saying that this is it's all a false flag, to be literally as disgusting as moms demand blood money. Yeah, it's actually that reprehensible to me. Hey, well, I got a 2 and a pair of 1s. So far it evens out. 2 points on one side, 2 points on the other. And I got a 5, so that's not going to help me any. I don't know where to put that. Fuck. You guys know I'm not normal. What? No, Macy, smoking guns is still fine for now. Listen, until you have proof that this actually was a false flag, shut the fuck up. Don't say the words to me. Because I will absolutely know you're lying. If you can prove that it's actually a false flag, by all means, bring me the evidence. And I will shut the fuck up. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it. After all of the reeing and gnashing of teeth about Sandy Hook being a false flag, hey, Apple, no, I don't believe that. So don't give me any shit. Don't even start with me, bitch. I would love to have that gentleman here and to fight it out with him. But you won't allow it. So go back to your latte, bitch. Where was I? After all the ringing and gnashing of teeth about how Sandy Hook was a false flag, using literally the worst evidence ever, including one piece that actually proves it's not. But moving on. I don't ever fucking want to hear those words again in my life. Okay. I have no fucking clue what this is about, people. Ozzy, I have. What are you talking about? That's about as mad as I can get at Ozzy. He's Canadian, guys. Okay, we're at 38 minutes. So now is just my open rant about all of this. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again with the expectation of a different result. Yeah, I don't know who said that first. I do know that Albert Einstein used it at least once, but that it was an old saying when his grandparents were children. All right, so it's a very, I could swear Samuel Clemens said it once too, or repeated it once. Oof, excuse me. There's a 150% chance I'm a little bit drunk right now. You know how you can tell? Because I'm live. Um, um, so yeah, if you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, you're probably insane. If you do the same thing over and over again and you're not insane, you're not expecting a different result, are you, Joe? And that's kind of my point. Those so-called leaders who have absolutely abrogated everything resembling their duty. Oh yeah, that's my good behavior. Are getting ready to do the same thing all over the fuck again. It's like this merry-go-round. You know, the yellow horse goes by once every 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever it is. So if you keep watching it for 8 minutes thinking the yellow horse isn't going to go by, well, yeah, no, you know the yellow horse is going to go by. So if you're watching for the yellow horse, you're going to see it go by soon enough. So trying to tell me that you were expecting a different result is an absolute fucking lie. You're not crazy, Joe. You're old. You're doddering. Right? You're clearly kind of losing whatever mental faculties you had. Right? But you're not crazy. Oh, okay. Ozzy, I saw that. I'll get you in a second. I promise. You're not crazy. You're not stupid. The people around you aren't stupid. And they've got their faculties all together. So, yeah, this was exactly the result you were planning on, you wanted, you desperately needed. All you had to do was set the stage and know somebody's going to come out there, like the merry-go-round. You have the merry-go-round in the park. Sooner or later, somebody's going to ride it. All right. I don't know what's with code here, so I'm going to be very careful about what I say too. Jeremy showed screen grab with the killer and her best friend minutes before the tragedy. I assume best friend told her dad. He said call self-harming line in Sheriff's 911, and it was too late. You know what? Yeah, it was too late. And 9 times out of 10, it is in 9 out of 10 cases, it is too late anyway. They'll be right in time to draw a chocolate outline around your body. Had the cops known the woman's plan, they might have been able to do something else, some other thing. And some other thing means sit in the fucking parking lot, off to the side, try to blend in with the rest of the cars until this one showed up, get out, light her car up, or her truck, or whatever the fuck it was, and she'll know that they know what she's planning. And then it's an okay corral situation, but hey, she came to the corral on her own. Nobody made her. This is unfortunately like Uvalde. The cops had warning before the thing started, but because they had warning that took them to one place rather than the other place where he was headed, by the time they knew what was going on, it was too late. Shadow asks, what's the yellow horse in this analogy? I'm not familiar with that expression. Yellow horse? I don't know what that means. That must be one of you teeny bopper things. Yeah, I just said that. God damn it. I'm not that old. Okay, moving on. Sorry. Getting that show notes back up where I can see it. Please avoid weirdo conspiracy theories. All right. The false flags and whatever else. Now, I know I just got into a weirdo conspiracy theory about how Biden et al. Set the stage, put the merry-go-round in the park, knowing that sooner or later somebody would climb up on it and do the thing. That's not a weirdo conspiracy theory. All right. There's a reason why grocers, liquor stores have all the liquor behind the counter and the cheap stuff out where you can get it, because they know people are going to steal it. You put the cheap stuff out on the floor, people are going to steal that too. Just like people steal bait cars each and every fucking time. Great video out there if you can find it. I want to say it was Las Vegas police as opposed to, a place on Earth. Where they put a bait car out and a guy steals the car, no shit. And as he's driving it in his meth-fueled rage, he's gripping it. Bait car, bait car, bait car, bait car. But he's so fucking high, he can't put knowledge this is a bait car together with the idea of stopping the car and surrendering before he gets himself killed. Also, avoid anything that's not relevant. All right, so here's where I got to kind of get right up to the edge of YouTube's rules. And I'm going to walk this line as carefully as I can without being a fucking liar. It has been claimed that the shooter was trans. That is completely and utterly irrelevant. It has nothing to do with anything. Period. End of discussion. A response to this, which I really, really hope that this is just a stupid shit post and not a serious effort. Some U.S. representative, I can't remember who, has suggested that all trans people should be excluded from bearing arms. if this is serious, then fuck you, dude. If this is just a shit post in response, well, still kind of fuck you, dude, but not as hard. We'll get the loop. All right. This is not a time for jokes, bruh. This is a time for being very fucking serious and dealing with a problem. It's been going on since 91. Yeah, let's say 94. Whoa, I must have missed something. I absolutely missed something here, guys. Let me back this chat up for a second. Oof. Okay. Apparently I missed a lot. All right. Shadowhawk wants to know, you were talking about a yellow horse on a merry-go-round. Yeah, every merry-go-round has at least one yellow horse. It's just a reference point. I could have said the blue horse too for all the difference it made. Ozzy said, point. Show it, motherfuckers. Point I was making Ari DS9 and Linus's Uncle Alex. List of dead people in bad shootings turns out exactly the same. Crew and passengers were in a crash months before. Okay. I have no idea what he's talking about. And then I don't know the truth or false of who was or wasn't there. So great. Good. Let's just drop it and leave it alone. Yeah, Shadow, do whatever you have to. You're here during the live. That's cool. Hey, Luke is here. Good. Oops. I almost left the studio trying to get back into the right one. Okay. Here we go. This is 50 schools put on lockdown today because of threats. Ozzy, it's Ozzy, so I'm going to assume. Okay, Macy, take it easy. I hope you check out the rest on the replay. We are at 54 minutes, so you can just fast forward to an hour. 50 schools put on lockdown today because of the threats. This is Ozzy, so I assume that this is correct and accurate to the best of his knowledge. Yeah, no shit. Only 50? I'm very shocked. Of course there's going to be fucking copycats and people taking advantage of it. Hell, I was in high school when somebody brought a knife one day. So the next day somebody said there was going to be a gun. And so they locked the school down. They didn't cancel school. They locked it down. Now, there have been other cases where schools have canceled because of what is referred to as a threat against the school or students or staff or whatever. And yeah, only 50 on lockdown. I'm kind of shocked that it's not 50 schools canceled school today because of threats. And we go through this every single fucking time. All right. This is not new. I'm sorry. Let's focus on news, I suppose. Huh? What would be new? Every school saying, fuck you. We're going to hold in-school classes. And if you think you can come down here, well, fuck around and find out. But I swear to God, I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I'm not mad. Sorry. Now, this is fixed. Telling me to get back on topic. Yes, dear. All right. The topic is, this has happened again. This has happened before. It's not rocket science to understand that we can fix this problem really easily. Yes, fortifying schools is part of it. And fortifying schools might mean putting, well, it does primarily mean putting physical barriers that keep people who should not be in the school out so that they cannot get in to begin with. They can't shoot a door out to get into the building. They can't just shoot windows out. By the way, that's not bulletproof glass that's best in this regard. It's shatterproof glass. Shatterproof glass, the bullet will go right through the glass. And it will barely slow down. And it may deflect off in some weird direction. Right? Which, if you know what you're doing, you could use to your advantage. I actually know the basic concept, but I don't know how to do it. It's kind of like being an auto mechanic. I know the concepts of how an automotive engine works. That doesn't mean I can repair one. Right? So, yeah, there's that. But if you can keep the glass from shattering, people can hide behind desks, evacuate classrooms, whatever it takes to get away from where the shots are coming from. The second part is armed school staff. You trust these people to be around your kids for about 6 hours a day, yet you can't trust them with a gun? Like, how does this concept work? What kind of fucking retarded are you? Apple, maybe you could jump into the chat and explain this to us. I'm well aware of the fact that not every school employee is a good person. Just like Ozzy, sit down, bro. You want to sit before you hear me say this. Squatch, I know you're sitting down, so I don't need to warn you. Not every cop is a good person. There are some actually bad cops out there. Like, legitimately evil fucking people. There are some legitimately evil fucking people working in schools. There are some legitimately evil fucking people working at Wendy's restaurants. There are some legitimately evil fucking people on YouTube uploading videos and making live streams and all the ands. Whatever you want to put there. YouTubers, cops, school employees, whatever, doesn't matter. There will always be legitimately evil fucking people. I saw that bitch. Don't even start with me. And by the way, girls, I know which one of you is which by the spelling. Where was I? There will always be legitimately evil people in anything you can name. All right, you would think that prison guards because they're supposed to deal with and make better people out of evil fucking human beings, would be tested and vetted and checked and tested again to make sure that they aren't evil fucking people themselves. And hey, guess what? Generally speaking, it's the other way around. The guards are just as bad as the people they're guarding. That's that is a generalization, not an absolute, but yeah. All right. There will always be legitimately evil people. All right. The Michelle Montoya murder in Sacramento, California in 2007. I think it was 2007. School employee, janitor, hired on a temporary basis because he was going through the background check and the vetting process. Turned out was a convicted gang member, the big 13 tattooed, 13 tattooed in his forehead. He raped and murdered that girl. Okay. Legitimately evil person. There's never going to be a complete avoiding it. For those of you not keeping score, earlier this year, there was another major national headline about a school instructor, female again, who was arrested for sex with a minor. For those of you that don't follow Failure to Stop, they did an absolutely vicious, hate-filled, borderline evil rant about a cop who was arrested for having something like 300 photos on his phone. I think it was his phone, of his wife, who was a school instructor, in sex acts with children. Now, and I love Mike's response to it. Fuck him. Fuck him. Okay, all right. I'm okay with this so far. Here's the thing. You can't distrust everybody on Earth, or you'll end up like me. I don't even want to be like me. I mean, I don't know who I'd rather be, but I'd rather be a little less sardonic, sarcastic, misanthropic, and worst of all, paranoid. That would be nice. So if you can't trust your kids with these people for 6 hours a day, or if you can't trust them with a gun, then how can you trust them with your kids for 6 hours a day? Michelle Montoya case, prime example. That that guy should have been caught and could have been caught, right? Can't trust him with a gun. How are you going to trust him around your kids? He didn't need a gun to murder her. That wasn't a requirement for his end goal. And another staff member being armed in his case might have actually had the effect. Right. I've been hearing about this quite a bit. I haven't seen it myself. I have a feeling it's probably true. And that's really disgusting. I can't explain to you. Without using language that even I know I can't use, how disgusting that fact is. Speaking of those related issues, I'm gonna pull up something. Stop screen. I wasn't gonna, but I think maybe I should. After all, share screen, Microsoft Edge. That's the one. Whoops, no, not that one. Okay. This is Insider Magazine. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was Business Insider. Okay. Nashville school shooter's parents thought the assailant shouldn't have guns, but the shooter bought 7 legally and hid them. Okay. Here's the problem with that headline. She shouldn't have been able to. We're not going to know for a long time exactly what happened, but a gun violence expert said the case shows it's difficult to restrict firearms from dangerous individuals. Whoops, where am I? There I am. Okay. That's bullshit. That is absolute fucking bullshit. Every single state in the Union, in the United States, has a law that will allow family to put somebody in a hospital if they believe that that person is a legitimate threat to themselves and others. I am going to go out there a little bit and say 99% of the time, you call the cops and tell them, hey, I want my daughter put in a hospital. She's a threat to herself and others. And the cop standing, he's not a psychiatrist. He's not a psychologist. Right? He's not a criminal attorney, defense or prosecution. He's not that either. Hey, welcome back, Shadow. All right. Do you want to be paying every single fucking cop $150,000 a year to be an attorney and a psychiatrist and a psychologist and carry a badge and a gun? Actually, it'd be a lot more than that. It'd be more like $250,000 a year. Right? If we want to go there, let's go there. Oh, by the way, that's without reducing the manpower pool, because increasing their pay so they can be all the above and decreasing the manpower pool doesn't solve anything. It just makes the real problem worse. I'm not sure I like that plan, Shadow, but at least I can see where your mind is going. It is a logical process. Oops, sorry. There's a logical process there, people. Either way, yeah, reducing the manpower pool just will make the problem that much worse. You'll have absolutely overqualified people out on the streets because they could literally be making more money as a psychiatrist or a psychologist or an attorney. Okay, maybe not quite as much as an attorney, but So I mean, if you want to go there, but be ready to pay through the nose. Yeah, I can see Ozzy getting ready to say no, but after that, until you're ready to go there, we're going to have to accept that they will have human limitations. All right. I'm with the majority here, but Ozzy's going to ask a legitimate question. Most people would vote for banning pew-pews from the mentally ill. Yeah, I'm with the majority there. 1, who determines they are? Oh, 1, who determines they are? Okay, so there is actually a process for that. Right? And I've been through it like 3 times now. Yeah, 3 times. 4, but one of them doesn't count. I was under 18 at the time. I've been declared fit for full duty all 4 times. 2, pre-crime losing rights. And 3, false claims can lose you your rights. Sounds like a very bad cure. All right. Well, let's get past the pre-crime thing. We all know somebody who's not all good in their head. Somebody who's bare minimum. Somebody whose judgment, you wouldn't give that guy a letter opener because you know he's a fucking idiot. He's going to stab somebody and say that it was a joke because his brain does not work correctly. Yes, I know that guy. No, I'm not that guy. Actually, I know several of them. And who decides? Well, you got to take them in front of a doctor who will diagnose and figure out what the hell's wrong with them. And then the doctor will go before the judge and say, "Yes, Your Honor, I concur. Mandatory carry is not of sound mind. I would not trust him with a letter opener." Okay. There you go. I've been through the process a few times. Now, Ozzy also pointed out false claims can lose you your rights. And you know what? There is always going to be somebody who abuses that process. Again, ask me how I know. Not the last time, but the next to last time I went through that process. It was somebody who was trying to avoid getting declared mentally incompetent, psychologically incompetent. She was trying to avoid getting declared suicidal herself, so she threw me under the bus. Oh, I love him so much. Okay. Okay. Shadow was responding to Ozzy was responding to Shadow. Well, what's wrong with the plan? Remove the state, replace them with cops. Ozzy points out most cops are not at the IQ level of doctors. Well, you know what? If you're willing to pay for all cops to be at the same IQ level as doctors, I guess that's what you'll get. And this is not an unfair statement. IQ is a bullshit method of measuring intellectual capability. Flag on the play. It's not bullshit. It's just not completely correct. And experts in the field will tell you the same thing. A kid who never went to school could be smarter but less learned than a kid who went to school. And that's true. Oh, now I got it. Yet that, oh, excuse me, wrong one. I know people who are like that. Uh, Not counting Carrie. Hey. I'm not that smart. Yeah, absolutely. Any of you that know somebody who might be interested in this, please share it. Please hurt my feelings. Oh wait, I sold those for a pack of cigarettes and some gum. Okay. So yeah, there's every reason why this should not have been able to happen. All right. It's actually not that hard to fortify schools. Yes, it means putting things in place that are unpleasant. All right. Like bars on windows. Yeah. And some of it will be expensive, like shatterproof glass. Okay. Now, that's unfortunate, but it's a whole lot less unpleasant than explaining to 6 parents why their kids are dead. It's a whole lot less unpleasant than having to get in front of CNN and say, well, our earlier statement that there was 20 dead has been amended to 25. It's a whole lot less unpleasant than every other single solution to the problem, every other single uh, potential result has ever been. I'm going to go just a weird little direction further. All right. Eventually and inevitably, a bad person will get into the school system and they will have a concealed carry permit. That's an unavoidable fact. That is a whole lot less explaining why that janitor murdered a student or a dozen students is a whole lot less unpleasant than trying to explain why the janitor is dead, as are a couple dozen students and a couple of staff members, because none of them had any way of stopping this guy once he barreled through the door with a 18-wheeler, with a stolen police car, with a rebuilt a rebuilt van that had originally been built as a bank van. I hope one of you can think of the term I'm trying to remember. That actually fucking happened, by the way. Some guy was able to get his hands on an old bank van, did a little bit of engine repair, and went and shot up a police station. I'm not even fucking joking. It happened in Oregon while I was still living there. I met the previous owner, not the summer before, but the summer before that. And Niles was a nice guy. Niles is a great guy. The guy he sold the van to obviously had every sort of issue on earth. If he thought it was a good idea to shoot up a police station. Armored van. Thank you. Armored car. Thank you. Squatch for the win. Just to prove it was actually Squatch. Yes, I will fit in your pocket there, Shadow. But we demand air. You have to give us air. Yeah, it sounds like Ozzy and Shadow are now getting along. Okay. Ozzy is going to get some answers. So a situation comes up where the school has been locked up so that bad people can't get in. How do fire rescue get in? Well, amongst other things that I've seen them do is literally batter through buildings with their fire engines. Yeah. Amongst other things that I've also seen them do is they take a fire hose with the bail, the nozzle on it. It's called a bail. Put it into the bars, turn it back around on itself so it's something like a knot, and they somehow secured it to the front bumper, and then backed the fire engine up. And not only did they rip the bars off the window and the window out of the bulkhead, but they ripped most of the plywood for about 2 feet either direction out with it all. They literally ripped everything out as if it wasn't even there, and then they got into the building and started fighting fires. And this, do we want schools to be even more of a prison than it already is? You know, I've never met a prison with playground equipment where the inmates can just sort of meander around the building whenever they want, and they kind of do whatever they want as long as they get to class on time. I've never seen that prison before in my life, but hey, by all means, let me know. All right. Who wouldn't want a brass knuckles wearing psycho in their pocket? I also know a little bit more about that fire engine with the hose thing. That was a field improvisation. I think it was down in Los Angeles, but I can't be totally sure. What I also know is from that, some firefighter somewhere came up with the idea of something designed for exactly that purpose. It's basically a harpoon-like thing. They put it in between the bars, turn it 90 degrees, and then a pair of other arms swing out. So now the two sets of arms are at 90 degrees of each other, 45 degrees of the bars. They hook the other end now because it is a fixed length cable. Hook the other end onto the fire engine, and hey, guess what? They back the fire engine up. And it rips the entire bar out of the window and the window frame and a huge chunk of the plywood around the window. Also the electrical and any water lines that happen to be going through that area. And I learned about this. Was it? I think it was Los Angeles again. Their SWAT team got that exact same equipment and demonstrated it. Oh my God! They just because they're not using quite so much horsepower, because they're using a police vehicle versus a fire engine, which the engine on the fire engine usually weighs roughly about half as much as the entire police vehicle. All right, just a little bit of disparity of power here. The police vehicle, which by the way was a SWAT vehicle, so it was armored, it pulled the window, it pulled the bars off the window. It did pull the window frame mostly out, and it pulled all the glass, went flying. All right, it just ripped shit and just yanked it all out. So yeah, I mean, there is a disparity of especially power to weight. Not quite as powerful, right? And it still more than got the job done. Shadow, you're obsessed with railguns like I'm obsessed with lasers. I'm sorry. Phasers. You should have been here. Somebody in the chat remind me when I did that plea for the nerdy kids to come up with James Kirk's phaser because of that girl that was killed down in Los Angeles because the jackass was running around beating people with a bike lock. Was that a month ago? I think it was. If anybody happens to remember, you should have been here a month ago, Shadow. Moving right along. All right. See you, Squatch. Are you going to your stream next? Because if you are, drop the link in the chat. I want somebody out there to explain what it's going to take for people to finally fucking take a hint. Because I'm getting tired of saying it. It's starting to piss me off too. I'm tired of hearing myself say this. So yeah, somebody give me a clue. How many dead does Moms Demand Blood Money need before they finally accept the fact that they were wrong and they were never right? Okay, so a little bit of nerdiness out of our Aussie. Phase Nadian beams. I've never even heard that term before, but I'm okay with it. I do not mind being corrected when I am wrong. And since I don't know, I can't help you. Speaking of which, I can't help you, Aussie. I don't know. You know how she is. She makes shit up as she goes along. But it is usually Saturday. Folks, Exiled Lioness channel was nuked off the face of the earth about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, because she did a live stream with, I think it was Undead Chronic. And, well, people just read her out of existence. You know how we love you Susan is. She's a cunt. But moving right along, ever since Exile's been putting the channel back together, things have been a little nebulous, a little hard to nail everything down. Yeah, well, I've been led on that panel once too, Shadow, so be very careful how much bragging you want to do here. All right. All right, I promised you guys that I would have a second subject, and I should move on to it after this one last little rant. Moms demand blood money. Every town, Joe Biden, all of you, your plan isn't working. Stop. Try something else. Okay. I was back in California last weekend. There is a lake. I want to say Lake Tulare. Back in the 1960s, I guess, they dammed up and diverted certain rivers, and the lake disappeared. Because, when you don't put water into a lake, sooner or later the water in it disappears. Um, over the last month, California then had, I think it was a total of 5 Pineapple Expresses come ripping through the state, to the point where lakes that were completely empty, Lake Siskiyou and God damn it, up north of Weaverville. I forgot the name. Those 2 lakes not only are full, but they're flowing. The man-made reservoirs that drop primarily off those 2 lakes, those are all full. And Lake Tulare is full again. Yeah. And that's actually seems to be the problem. There's now so much water that it's flooded out a town that is where Lake Tulare used to be. The dams are full, or at least mostly full. And they're talking about building yet another reservoir on top of all of that. Oh, by the way, it's No Mandate himself that wants to build this new reservoir. The same No Mandate who just a year ago, I think it was screaming that climate change is causing all these forest fires, even though he's the one that created them. He set the stage and then they were created. Okay, Ozzy, Hawk, the 2 you play nice. Okay, at least I'm caught up on that part. This is actually creating a problem. First of all, a lake that hasn't existed in 50 years, 50 years, is back, and it's back in vengeance, and it's destroyed a city. Well, yeah, that city should never have been built there. That lake should never have been. The river that fed that lake should never have been diverted. All of the ands here. More importantly, this is a thing that happens. It's approximately a 10-year cycle. 10 years of flood, 10 years of drought. 10 years of flood, 10 years of drought. We love you, Susan. This wouldn't have even been a problem to begin with if certain people had planned for the 10 years of drought. Now, I understand, I accept, and I acknowledge. No Mandate was still the mayor of San Francisco at the time when the last drought cycle started. Oh, excuse me, flood cycle started. All right. So this isn't entirely on him. But to turn around and say that this is something abnormal is bullshit. It's a flat out lie. And to let people do things that they know is going to endanger them. I mean, what? What do you want me to say? You want me to feel bad for you? I don't. You let this happen. You knew it was going to happen. You let it happen. That's as good as making it happen. and it's entirely on you. Oh, by the way, that lake is not naturally filling. Water has been diverted back to the lake to refill it because there's that much water in the system. Now, let me make sure that was everything I wanted to cover about the subject. California has been about 200 years of really 5 different states. There's San Francisco Bay Area, which really is just the San Francisco and about a 20-mile ring around the bay. Right? Everybody else is something else. There's the Northern California area, which is basically a line roughly halfway between Sacramento and Lincoln, right? Draw a straight line east to west, even though Lincoln's actually kind of northeast of Sacramento. Everything north of that line is Northern California. It's rural and agriculture, right? The biggest city north of that line is Woodland. And after that, wow, it would be a toss-up. Would it be Redding or Chico? I'll let somebody a little bit more versed in the subject address that. And then south of that line to roughly Bakersfield. Draw a line from Bakersfield straight to the coast. And now you draw a line, well, Sentinel. Yeah. Basically, you draw a line around the Los Angeles mountains. That's Los Angeles. Everything to the east of that line is basically San Diego or Fresno, Bakersfield, etc. Right? That's really the way California is. And in case you haven't noticed, these lines are the waterways, the major water regions. Now, I know I cut Northern California a little bit on the north side. It would actually be a little bit south of Sacramento if it was just the water. But Sacramento has become really part of the Central Valley. They think that they're San Francisco, and they're not. They're really, really not San Francisco. I know I lived there for 10 years, 10 plus years. This ugly water war, and it's a 200-year-long war over water and water rights and the way that the water flows. The first environmental actions after the first environmental laws were passed was California farmers suing gold miners for hydraulic mining up north of northern end of Napa Valley. This problem has been going on for so long that nobody really knows how to solve it unless they're willing to dig and dig and dig. And for Los Angeles to be demanding San Joaquin, really it's San Joaquin at that point, Valley water, because they have 6 million more people in that area than it can support. It's fucking asinine. It's stupid. It is absolutely irresponsible. For San Francisco to be demanding Northern California water because they've got 4 million people than they can support is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's really time to empty those cities out completely. And I mean, if we have to resurrect the master, all right, and turn Mariposa into a research center, hey, I'm all for it. Okay, I am actually going over the chat real quick. Shadow, I don't think Ozzy understands the alpaca reference. I barely do. Eastern borders. No, we are not selling the states back to Mexico, Ozzy. All right, this one. Oop, let me. Sorry, guys. That is actually a doable thing, but all it will do is create a very small earthquake versus the huge one that it would happen otherwise. San Francisco was never nice. All right. Pretty sure fault lines don't have gender there, Shadow, but no, actually, the way you can artificially activate an earthquake is you pump it full of water. Not even fucking joking. For some reason, if you pump enough water into a fault line, especially within, say, a 10-mile absolutely key critical area, whatever that critical area for that particular fault line happens to be, you can get the plates to shift on their own, and then you have an earthquake. And of course, you can achieve the same effect by putting a nuke down there, as Shadow suddenly wants to do. But that's a violation of the International Underground Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Sorry. Can't. That's not gonna fly under the best of circumstances. There's actually no reason for this war to be going on, right? Los Angeles, you can't support that many people. Give it up already. And I know you can't support that many people because during the first couple of weeks of the lockdowns, people could see the mountains. That tells me that if you got the people out of there, that area could recover to the point where you can see the mountains. So don't give me some bullshit about, oh, well, no, we can't. Well, yeah. No, Shadow. There's a reason why I now do not trust you with nukes under any circumstances, including gaming. And yes, there's always going to be room for criminals. They make room for themselves. Okay, I got 15 minutes. I'm going to fill those 15 minutes with a rant related to what happened Tuesday. Mom's demand, Joe Biden, all the other fucking liars want you to believe that if we ban all the guns, then it'll solve everything. No, it won't. I have bought guns on the black market. I've done that. I'm going to emphasize that or underscore that by saying, first of all, it was only once. And second of all, basically, what I did was a public service crime. I bought a gun off of a homeless person back when I was living in Sacramento. Right? I did it illegally. I did it in illegal fashion, and this guy should not have had a gun. Hey, folks, this guy should not have had a gun under any circumstances. So, yes, I did commit a misdemeanor. And a serious misdemeanor. I did that. That happened. I would suggest to you that the crime I committed was a whole lot less serious than the crimes I prevented in the process, but that being what it may. If I can buy a gun off a homeless person, soak in a crazy bitch, it would take me 48 hours to acquire a completely home-built gun. And by that, I mean that not a single piece came from a gun store. None of them. Up to and including a spring for the magazine that was not designed for that purpose, but was adapted. Up to and including from there, hardening or softening the spring as needed to accomplish the job. So I want you to explain to me how banning guns is going to do anything. Damn, Squatch isn't here. I have a great mission for him. Good night, Shada. Anyway, Star Trek 5? Final Frontier. The one where Spock's brother hijacks the Enterprise. Right? So Klingon, Romulan, and human ambassador to Nimbus 4, I think it was. The human ambassador is pissing and moaning about the fact that they're here, really. That's what he's really pissed about. It's the planet of peace. The people we conned into coming here, they were the dregs of the galaxy. We forbade them weapons. They simply fashioned their own. Previous scene, you see one of those weapons that they fashioned. It is a bolt-action rifle, okay. It's probably a smoothbore because he probably made it himself. We love you, Susan. But he made it himself, and it worked. Didn't work very well. It's a piece of crap, really. But it did work. So, Mom's demand, I'd like you to explain to me how you're going to solve that problem. I'm going to underscore that a little bit by repeating myself for like the 100th time. So I got another video called Gun Control Has Failed, where I put together the four most important videos in understanding why gun control doesn't work. Guncraft 101. He made an AR-15 lower receiver from soda cans. You know, the ones where the label is mostly white but with a blue ribbon on it. Yeah, that soda. Took him a lot of cans, by the way. And all he did was he smelted it down. He did do a little bit um, pre, or he put a few pieces in it so that the smelted aluminum kind of did sort of a little bit form an AR-15 upper receiver, but then it was just less machining he had to do later. If he had just melted it down into a single, what is it, 4-inch by 2-inch by 6-inch aluminum square block, he could have still done the same machining, just a lot more of it, a lot more inconvenience. The next one was the barrel segment of the Utah gun by the Idahoan show. The barrel's rifled. The next one was refilling 300 blackout rounds with black powder in an AR-15, and it worked mostly because he used cheap ass powder, as he put it. Anyway, that's generally how he put it. The gun failed to cycle properly. If he had just cut off the gas tube, it would have been fine. It would have been a bolt action rifle. If he'd used higher quality powder, it might have cycled properly. I'm just saying. And the last one, in every sense of the word, is actually the most dangerous because it is the realest. A guy who used to install roll-up garage doors took parts of doors that he apparently took down and built a Mac 10. Simple blowback operation, no gas tubes. The way blowback works is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You squeeze the trigger, the pin falls, hits the primer, there's an explosion in the shell casing. It sends a bullet one direction, but it also sends energy back the other direction. Utilizing that energy going back is known as recoil operated, as opposed to gas operated, which is where there's a little hole in the barrel that draws gas off to force the bolt back. You know, like the AR-15, the AK-47, the SKS, 90% of the other guns you'll ever think of. Allen's Mac 10, simple blowback operation. You scale it up, and all of a sudden, you've got an assault rifle. I'm just saying. You can scale it up to become a 50 cal because that's literally what the M2 is. Change the feeding mechanism, and yeah, now you have a box magazine fed assault rifle. And for those of you that think I'm completely off my nut and full of shit, hey, that's what the M82 Barrett is. Only it's semi-auto only. Oh. So, by the way, the M82 is not an assault rifle, semi-auto only. Okay. Oh, shit. I gotta wrap this up pretty quick. Backstory Q Space Trip. Gorgon the Friendly. I have no idea what you're talking about here. By Q from another universe destroyed the Tikan Empire? Because he was decapitated if I... Oh! Okay, I understand what he's talking about now. He's talking about the god from Final Frontier. Okay, well, that's interesting. I'm not sure I care, but okay. And this is somebody posted a vid of us standing in a skateboard rink, firing off a boomstick, gets a lot of speed going backwards from the recoil. Yeah, that's recoil operation at work on a skateboard. Probably using a shotgun. Doesn't make that much of a difference. Yeah, okay. I used to do pieces of a get home kit. Get home bag. Always say water, but have clothing that is appropriate to your current weather conditions, and have something that is appropriate that if you get caught out overnight, you're not going to freeze to death. Even in the middle of summer, at night, you're going to get cold. It's that simple. It's not even a complicated concept. You may not be able to get straight home for reasons that I can't predict. I work 6 blocks from work. I live 6 blocks from work, right? And there could be a riot between here and there, right? That's cutting me off, and I have to go way the hell up north. I'd have to go 12 blocks north, then come back down around a freeway into Reno proper for several blocks, just to swing back around and on the underside, because I would otherwise have to cut through a neighborhood of people who are very, very bad and awful human beings. Basically, it's a minimum security prison complex that touts itself as an apartment complex. Guaranteed I'll be out overnight going that route. That sucks. Actually, I wouldn't. I'd just keep on walking. But any normal human being would be out overnight. Have warm weather gear just in case you need it. Niner 17 is coming. Well, no, it's here. That shit. It's not a shit post. That theory that the public figure posted about the Nashville being an attack on Christians, Christians and Jews, by the way. No, there's no proof of that. But there has been a self-radicalized Islamist, ISIS adherent who swore that he was going to kill cops in New York. I think it was New York. So yeah, it's here. And I would, under any normal circumstances, have every reason to believe that Nashville was 917, and I have no reason to believe it's not. Yeah, that's my shit post. It was a terror attack. It was just a simple terror attack. 917's here, folks. So be ready to fight for your life. Simple as that. Sorry. Or not. Exactly. And with that, guys, I'm going to say keep calm and mandatory carry on.